For the police officer, the police interview is an effective way to discover the truth or otherwise of a suspect's account. For the suspect, knowing how the police approach questioning at a police interview can help them decide whether to answer questions or not. In a police interview, the police officer asks a series of questions about the offence a suspect has been arrested for and the allegation and evidence they have gathered so far. The police questioning is normally put forward in a three-stage approach. 1. Open questions. 2. Summarising questions. And 3. Challenging questions. This is a community legal education presentation. My name is Nasir Hafizi, I'm a solicitor, and here's 5 points about the police approach to police interviews you should know about, especially if you've been asked to attend a police interview. 1. Open questions. After explaining the police caution, the police officer in the police interview will start by asking open questions. Take this as an example. A police officer investigating a neighbourhood dispute that led to a public disorder between two neighbours which took place the night before. The police officer may begin by asking the suspect, "Where were you last night from 10 p.m. onwards?" That's an open question. The suspect might answer confidently as follows. "Last night, officer, I was at home with my partner Cheryl from 9 p.m. onwards and we stayed in watching Dancing on Ice on ITV." 2. Summarising questions. After answering a series of open-style questions, the police officer may then ask a series of summarising questions to the suspect, or what can be commonly described as nailing the suspect's account down questions. These are closed questions, which only really allow the suspect to answer yes or no. So turning to the example, the police officer might summarise the suspect's answers by asking the suspect the following series of summarising questions. "So, you're saying last night you stayed at home from 9 p.m. with your partner, is that right?" The suspect may reply yes. The police officer then may ask, "And your partner is called Cheryl?" The suspect might reply yes. The police officer may then ask, "And you were watching Dancing on Ice?" And the suspect might again confirm his account yes. The police officer may then ask, "And you didn't go out after 9 p.m? And the suspect may emphatically say no, definitely not. 3. Challenging questions. Once the open and summarising questions have been asked, the interviewing officer may then begin to ask challenging questions by putting the specific allegations and evidence they've gathered against the suspect and invite the suspect to comment. So, in the example given, the police officer may challenge the account given by the suspect in the following way by showing CCTV footage of the public disorder. The police officer may ask, "Look, let me show you the CCTV footage showing you on the street last night at 10 p.m, which is the same time you said in this police interview you were at home with your partner Cheryl. What do you say about that?" The suspect may remain silent. The police officer then may continue, "And look, the CCTV footage shows you fighting and falling to the floor with your neighbour. Do you have any comment?" The suspect may remain silent, and the officer might then finish with a smile and a flourish and say, "It seems to me that you were on the CCTV falling to the floor. Were you watching Dancing on Ice or were you auditioning for the part?" 4. Why the three-stage approach to police question is used. 2 reasons. Firstly, for the police, this approach by beginning with open questions and in the circumstances where a suspect has no prior knowledge of the evidence the police have gathered is an effective way to test the first account of the suspect and whether it is consistent or not with the evidence the police have gathered. Where a suspect answers questions to open questions and there are clear contradictions with the evidence gathered, this approach can show that a suspect is being at best inconsistent with the evidence or at worst untruthful. The second reason why the police approach police interviews in this three-stage approach is this approach can also demonstrate a suspect's honesty, credibility and the strength of the suspect's account, assuming they have answered the open and summarising questions. Any account given, if consistent with the evidence the police have gathered, indicates a suspect's truthfulness. In the example given, it might have been best for the suspect to have either not answered any of the questions until the CCTV was viewed, or alternatively to put forward an account where their presence is admitted and then provide an explanation of how the altercation occurred. Maybe they'll admit that they were acting in an unlawful manner against their neighbour who was provocative. Or maybe the suspect may say they were acting in self-defence against an aggressive neighbour. Any account given which is consistent with the evidence indicates the suspect's truthfulness, and that's the point. Point 5. Generic advice. The interviewing officer will always consider the three-stage approach to police interviews, beginning with open, then summarising, and end with challenging questions. The generic advice for suspects is, once an account is given at police interview, it is hard to change it, as any change in account put at trial may come across as dishonest and made in order to fit evidence the police have gathered. And remember, a suspect should always seek legal advice before attending a police interview, and always seek legal advice as to whether to answer questions or not, and in this case, whether to answer the open and summarising questions too. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to Community Legal Education so you can watch more videos in the series and many more. Please donate via Patreon or my funding page so we can make more legal explainer videos. Please speak to a solicitor if you need legal advice, and may the justice be with you.